Our next testimony, she came all the way here from Massachusetts with her family, Lisa Richards.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Hello. So I was sitting back trying to think about what I was going to talk about today. I'm talking about poverty for about 25 years now. And you know, there hasn't been great improvement. That's kind of sad, isn't it? Let's see. I was thinking about coming here, and I was talking to people in Massachusetts about trying to get them to give me money to come here, you know? And at the same time, I needed money to put oil in my tank so I could have hot water to give the kids baths for school, and so I could do pots and pans. And yesterday I was getting some text messages from some people who don't quite get activism, who don't quite, they're in their own little bubble, and their own little fight with their own demons, and had lots of nasty things to say about somebody who might be focusing on the bigger picture and not just on myself. Never have been very good about focusing just on myself. So I was explaining that there are people that have money, and when you have money, you can decide where you're going to put it, you know? It's not the electric bill or the rent or food. It's sort of like I can go to Europe, or I can, buy my second home, or I can donate it to whatever causes. So there are some people that I've been lucky to know and who really respect the work that my family and I do with activism. And when we put the plea out there, we normally can get what we need to be able to drive our rear ends to wherever we're going. And so that was the case. What we really should be doing is staying home and cleaning our house and making it so it passes inspection so that we don't become homeless on Tuesday. Notice we're not there doing that. We're here. Why might I be here? That's kind of a confusing question to a number of people, including a bunch of people that don't even know from Massachusetts that I'm here. It's because we needed, as a family unit, to get our stuff together and to remember the activism. Each of our kids, starting with my oldest one, Amanda, who's 20. Many of you know Amanda, and met Amanda at one of the tent cities when she was less than 2, and she's 20 now. Will be 21 soon. So each of the kids showed up at a march, like KWRU or Economic Human Rights or whatever organization we were all part of or are all part of, when they were less than a year, some a few weeks old. So we've been doing this for a while with each of the kids, and we need to remind ourselves that the tent cities exist. And in Boston, or in Massachusetts, you don't really find the activism that I came driving out to Philadelphia 18 years ago when I get teased that I went looking for brotherly love and came back with one. And in fact, I did. And so, got me that way. So we needed to refocus ourselves that although we're having a hard time, we know how to struggle and to survive, and we always have. We've always made it back, whatever troubles. And that we will again this week. Or we'll be in the press and we'll be causing hell, and we won't go down without a huge fight. And so we're here, short period, would like to stay the whole weekend, have a wedding to go to tomorrow, so we're going to be here today and go back, to just be able to say that just because people live in poverty, I have a hard time with that poor word, poverty, doesn't mean we're stupid or unreliable or uneducated or don't have strength in us or who aren't survivors or just don't have a clue, You just need to get your crap together, pull your big girl panties up and go get a job, Lisa, and smack your kids around and they'll all act like little soldiers and everything will be just perfect. And that's why you don't have a $100,000 home in Concord. because you just didn't do it right somehow. And I was thinking, when I first became an activist, I was living in a boarding home with Amanda. She was like 6 months old. And there was this organization called the Women's Alliance. And it was small, and I was like, oh, what are they doing? They're being little rebels, right? So I went and pranced around and followed like a little robot, this woman who some people know in the Boston area. We'll just leave her alone for now. And learned a lot. And you know what it did for me? It empowered me to not focus on the deadbeat dad, not focus that I felt like every family and friend member I had left me by myself to raise a small child, including my father, who took his life, actually, the year before, after him and Amanda's father had me have an abortion the first time I got pregnant the year before, because I would be a no-good welfare mom. And DCF, or DSS at the time in Massachusetts, would come take that child. Well, you know what's interesting about that is I did become that welfare mom, and in fact was quoted in the newspaper in Boston a number of times for being the welfare mom with the Cadillac, because I had a 1977 Cadillac and it was loud, and so they got lots of pictures of that and spread it all over the place. Interesting. The welfare mom that chased Teresa Murray, who's a senator, and I think she's in the leadership of the State House now, with an apple pie and threatened her life with an apple pie. Oh my. Tried to get me arrested at the State House. That was ridiculous. So you can be a big threat just by opening your big mouth and chasing the politicians around and just trying to say, just because I live in poverty, just because I'm on food stamps or mass health or welfare or have a deadbeat dad or have, people in recovery or suicide or mental health or sexual abuse, and that we can still have our stuff together, because I have my children. DCF hasn't grabbed them. They've tried. I've had many, 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 many calls, many, many, many investigations, and then they've never even opened a case. So we're in a church, so I won't say those beautiful words I really want to say at the moment. So, we can beat the little fights, and the little fights are important because they become big fights. And I'm gonna try to wrap it up, I'm sorry. I was also telling somebody recently about, where's Sherry? She's over there. Remember when Faith Evans, do you all know who Faith Evans is? Does anybody know who Faith Evans is? Yes. I know you do, Smarty. He was an African-American man who was in the leadership of the National Organization for Women with Patricia Ireland. And he had helped Kensington Welfare Rights Union and the Women's Alliance organize when Newt Gingrich was trying to take welfare to his new Welfare Reform Act. And he had organized press and places for us to stay and food for us. And, it was so incredible. So a van full of people from Philly would go and disrupt the hearings. And then the next week, those of us from Massachusetts would go. And we did that for like a month and a half, I think, maybe even more. We went back and forth several times. And I remember fighting with the person, I'm not going to mention her name, about how important it was to go. And she was the director, she was getting paid, No, we don't need to go. And so we went, and we did. And we stalled welfare, Kensington Welfare Rights and Women's Alliance. Small groups of people. We're talking about 20 people maybe from KWU, I think that went, and maybe 7 of us from Massachusetts. Stalled it for 3.5 years. And what we got, what Clinton did sign, was bad, but nowhere near as bad as what Newt Gingrich wanted. And so I think when I hear about people don't want to vote, or don't want to register, or don't want to call your legislator, or don't want to go to the march, or don't want to talk to the press, or don't want to do whatever, I try to remind people that small groups of people can make a huge amount of difference. And it impacts people across the country. Similar to, I bet some of you might have noticed that on Saturday your EBT card didn't work for a few hours. Yeah, I wasn't too fond of that, trying to find somewhere to use it. That caused chaos across the country, and I saw it on Facebook, and people were getting mad. I'm like, are you going to get mad about the food stamps, but you're not going to get mad about a 10-year wait list for housing, or, that they're trying to kill us all. They're trying to kill us, and they've been trying to kill us. and take our kids and take the homes and everything, and we're not getting mad enough. And it was interesting to me how mad people were getting about an 8-hour electronic mix-up with the EBT card. So I'm hoping that you all hear some really good, powerful stuff this weekend, and that I can read about it or hear about it, and that we can maybe do some more of those beautiful marches. I was thinking about the music earlier, you all playing, where'd they go? I don't know where the guys went. But it was really powerful, and the women that sang were great too, and everybody who spoke before me. The chorus that we used to have on those bus rides, do we have copies of those CDs? Do you have them like now? No. That's too bad, because it's really powerful stuff. We should get hold of that stuff. Okay, I need to get out of here. And when you have money, you can decide where you're going to put it, you know? It's not the electric bill or the rent or food. It's sort of like I can go to Europe, or I can, buy my second home, or I can donate it to whatever causes. So there are some people that I've been lucky to know and who really respect the work that my family and I do. Hello, everybody. Hello. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Hello. So I was sitting back trying to think about what I was going to talk about today. I'm talking about poverty for about 25 years now. And there hasn't been great improvement. That's kind of sad, isn't it? Some people who don't quite get activism, who don't quite, they're in their own little bubble, and their own little fight with their own demons, and have lots of nasty things to say about somebody who might be focusing on the bigger picture and not just on myself. Never have been very good about focusing just on myself. So I was explaining that there are people that have money. Let's see. I was thinking about coming here, and I was talking to people in Massachusetts about trying to get them to give me money to come here, And at the same time, I needed money to put oil in my tank so I could have hot water to give the kids baths for school, and so I could do pots and pans. And yesterday I was getting some text messages from...
Our next testimony, she came all the way here from Massachusetts with her family, Lisa Richards.